1 or 2 of cereal for extra credit. We talked about that in September. Yeah, there you go. Tomorrow and Friday is it. Thank you, I would appreciate that. All right. Full size, unopened. All right, guys, here we go. Those of you, we are on page 38, problem 2C. Those of you that watched the video and took notes know that we start these problems inside the parentheses. Remember that? So what do we do inside the parentheses? Well, we're going to cover this up. Look at just this. Who wrote down the rules for the inverse functions? Who wrote down the rules? If this is a positive number, we do one thing. If this is a negative number, we do another thing. Who wrote down the rules about the quadrants? Gabby? If it's positive, it's in quadrant 1, right? I asked you to put this on your green sheet maybe for reference in the future. What happens if the inverse sign is negative? Quadrant 4. There are rules associated with this. I asked you to put it on your green sheet. I will always tell you, if you're not allowed to use your green sheet, I will tell you the quadrants. This isn't something I expect you to memorize. But right now it should be written down, so you ought to just be looking at your notes, saying, okay, this guy is an inverse sign, he's negative, therefore I'm going to draw him in quadrant 4. The sign is negative for this. Now we have drawn pictures like that before. In quadrant 4, because that's the rule, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So then what? What do I always do when I get this?
A squared plus B squared equals C.
Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus 4 squared is 5 squared. Remember, the negative is going to get squared out, so I'm not going to worry about it. So a squared plus 16 is 25. A squared is 9. So I'm going to put a 3 right here. Why am I putting a 3 and not a negative 3?
Positive to the right.
Because it's on the right. That's right. It's on the right side. If my triangle had been over here, I'd make a negative 3. Okay, so now I've drawn a picture of that. Now, what do I want to know about that? I want to know the tangent. So look at my picture. What is the tangent? So the TOA, tangent is opposite over adjacent. There we go. That's the answer to the question. All right, here's another one. What do I do first? Draw a picture of the parentheses. Which quadrant am I going to draw my picture in? Quadrant 1. Because what's the rule? If that number's positive, I don't care what this is. If that number's positive, I'm always going to draw it in quadrant 1. Whether it's sine, or tangent, or cosine, it's going to be a quadrant 1. Tangent is 2/3 opposite over adjacent. What do I do now? Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Did you get the square root of 13? Now, what do I want to know? I want to know, oh, I kind of erased it. I want to know the cosine? So the cosine is 3/13. These problems look so complicated, but they're very easy if you do them one step at a time. All right, next. Now, you've got these answers written down because we're going to practice on our calculator too, doing these. But first, let's do these by hand. Finding the sine of the angle is cosine is √7. All right, so what is step one? Draw my triangle. And since that number is positive, I just made a big deal about this. Since that number is positive, my triangle will be drawn in quadrant 1. It's only when it's negative that I have to worry about it. Positive is always in 1. Adjacent over hypotenuse, cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse. Remember, I'm looking inside the parentheses. So now what? So √7 squared plus b squared equals 4 squared. What's √7 squared? 7. Did you get 3? Everybody get 3? Now answer the question. The question says, okay, for that picture, what is the sign? What is the sign? So the answer to the problem is reverse. All right, one more of those. Step 1, draw a picture. Where will my triangle be located? First quadrant, that's a positive number. We love positive numbers because they're in quadrant 1. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so 3/4. 3 squared plus b squared is 4 squared. Remember, when you do the Pythagorean theorem, and you do it a lot, this is the hypotenuse over here all by itself. I got the square root of 7, did you? Now what do I want to know? I want to know the tangent. Right? Don't I want to know the tangent? This is done. I drew a picture of this. So I want to know the tangent. So tangent is opposite over adjacent, √7 over 3.
This could be a stupid question, but does it matter, like, what you plug in for A, B, and C? Like, does it matter what order? Like,
Not for A and B. C is over here by itself.
well, for, like, does it matter which number that you already have? Like, if I plugged
No,
in,
this could be A.
okay,
Yeah. A and B don't matter,
okay,
but C has to be over here.
okay.
That's the hypotenuse. That will not be an A or a B. That will
Okay.
be a C.
So I thought it was always B, C.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So 4/7 will be due on Friday. Okay. Now get your calculators out because I want to type in a couple of these on the calculator and show you that you can do it on the calculator too. Okay. So here we go. The good news is you're going to type exactly what you see. So you're going to type sine. Now, as soon as you press sine, these parentheses come in. Fine. And then second cosine. And then another set will come in. That's fine. the square root of 7 divided by 4. And then, since we're at the end of the problem, we're not gonna type anymore. We don't really need to close our parentheses, but if you feel better about doing it, you're gonna have a couple sets of parentheses to close it, but you don't really have to. And you come up with 0.75. If you type that in correctly, you got 0.75, all right? If you didn't get 0.75, then let's try the next one and see if that works for you. And if not, cut it off as hours and we'll figure out what's going on. Okay, let's type this one. Tangent, second cosine, 3 divided by 4. Now, you're not gonna get that answer. Did you get 0.8819? Okay, so let's check that and see if that's really the same as this. This is called the exact answer. This is an approximation because I had to round it off. So type in the square root of 7 and divide it by 3. Yeah. Did you get exactly the same number? Yeah. Now, those of you that aren't, you might be making this mistake, especially if you have an older calculator. When you hit square root, a parentheses comes in, you have to close that before you divide because you're not square rooting it all, you're only square rooting the 7. Okay, all right, so that takes care of that. Let's go on, start 4-8. 4-8 is word problems. You don't need a calculator, so leave your calculator out, you don't need it. And we have done some of these before in an earlier section, so I think this is going to be easy for you. We have a bird in the top of the tree. Here's the bird in the top of the tree. We want to find the angle of elevation. So do you remember from before that this is your angle of elevation and depression? Doesn't matter which one it is, you're putting it there every time. From a point on the ground, 100 feet from the base of the tree. Point on the ground, base of the tree, 100 feet. The bird is 18 feet above the ground. Now, in order for you to be able to solve the problem, you're going to need to draw the picture correctly. Does that picture make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Once the picture is drawn, then we're going to write an equation. It's going to be sine, cosine, or tangent. Okay? So here's my angle. Here are the sides. Is this going to be a sine, cosine, or a tangent? This is going to be
Cosine. Cosine. Cosine.
I hear cosine and I hear tangent. Which is right? Tangent. How do I know it can't possibly be cosine? What's cosine? Adjacent over hypotenuse. Do I have hypotenuse labeled up there? Do I care about that? It's probably no. So I'm not using cosine. I'm using tangent because this is opposite and this is adjacent. So tan x, always put the angle with the tangent or the sine or cosine. So tan x equals opposite over hypotenuse. This is one of the special ones. How do I type this in? When x is my angle, remembers, nope, I don't multiply by 100. I actually don't do any math. I go straight to the calculator. I do the inverse. So I'm going to do inverse tangent. Remember, if x is the angle, you're going to do second tangent. 18 divided by 100. And you should get 10.20 degrees. Did anybody get 0.178? 0.178 is a radian, so you'll want to go back to mode, change your calculator into degrees. .78 would be the correct radian measure. We want to answer this in degrees, but. All right, did you get 10.2 out of that time? All right, friends, next problem. Find the distance from a worm on the ground to a bird in the top of the tree. Here's the bird, here's the worm. The bird's angle of depression is 24 degrees. And the tree is 19 feet tall. So far, so good. What's my question? Find the distance from a worm to a bird. So where does my X go? My hypotenuse. Because there's the bird, there's the worm. That's how far apart they are. Right? Sine, cosine, or tangent. Look at that angle right here. Look at these sides. What do we got? Sine. So sine 24 equals opposite over hypotenuse. Am I going to be using this button this time? No, because I only use these buttons, the inverse buttons, when X is the angle. So I'm going to use my regular sine button, but I'm going to multiply by X and divide by sine. Now, remember, that's a degree, so we do need to be in degrees. Should be now. So 19 divided by sine 24. I got 46.71 feet. Yep. Did you? All right, last one in this section. Let's get her done. Here we go. How tall is a flagpole that casts a 23-foot shadow when the angle of elevation is 32 degrees? Where does the X go? Oh, I didn't put the X in there. Where does the shadow, where's the 23 go? Where's it go? Isn't a shadow on the ground, you guys? Shadows aren't out here in the space, they're on the ground. Here's the ground where I see the shadow. Sine, cosine, or tangent? Tangent. Tangent 32 equals X over 23. I'll multiply by 23. I got 14.317. Make sure you're getting 14.37 feet. All right, we'll finish this up tomorrow and start our review. Yeah. Homework due Friday is 4/7.